Prescott Van Meyer III, sommelier from home. Today's episode, a domestic dispute, a head-to-head showdown between Bud Light and Miller Lite. Well, folks, when you think of American light beers, these are two of the biggest names you can get, Bud Light and Miller Lite. Before the chicken wars, before the cola wars, there was the light beer wars. The point is, these are two very popular light beers enjoyed by millions of Americans every day. And as we move into the era of the seltzer wars, these two relics, these two dinosaurs, these titans continue to battle it out in grocery stores and bodegas across the country. You've got Taste Great, Less Filling, Spuds McKenzie. You've got It's Miller Time. You've got the Bud Light Night. Boy, they just go at it, back and forth. But the one thing that hasn't changed, their taste, the actual product itself. And after all those years of fighting, I will be the final judge of which product reigns supreme. I, and I alone, will tell you, America, which is better. And that will settle it, once and for all. Meaning the loser most likely will shutter their entire business model and quietly go the way of the buffalo. So the first thing you might notice in these cans is that one is a little bit taller, but they both claim to have 16 fluid ounces. That means, I suppose, that Miller Lite is girthier. So, point goes to Miller Lite. As I've been told, girth is much more important than length. Let's just start with Bud Light. Immediately, I smell a little bit of farts coming out. Not an unpleasant fart like it's your own. You know, it's not like somebody else's fart, just experiencing it. I'm sensing being an American right now. You know, like the real Americans in the middle of the country, not those coastal elites. Nothing imported, none of that continental crap, just good old USA. All right, so still getting some yeasty quality coming off, but I am getting a sense of St. Louis. Yeah, definitely made in St. Louis. I'm getting notes of operating a jet ski very irresponsibly on the lake. All right, we've smelled Bud Light. Let's move on to Miller Lite. Remarkably less farts there, more of a belch. Smell of a burp coming right out. Maybe you had some Honey Nut Cheerios and you're lactose intolerant, so you gave that a nice good belch. So that's what we got. Belch versus farts. Doesn't get much more American than that. The hops and the beer flavor definitely comes out of the can more intensely than the Bud Light. So it's more intense flavors already, just coming out of the smell. You know, Ron, my neighbor who could fix anything, swore by Bud Light. And Reggie, well, a welder I knew, he helped me out on a lot of different properties, he swore by Miller Lite and nothing else. He said he didn't want anything else, Miller Lite and Miller Lite only. He would even get angry. I actually offered him a Stella Artois once and he slapped it clean out of my hands. Flew into the neighbor's yard. So it is a light beer, so I'm wondering if they skimped on quality to get the calorie count down. Although I can't imagine genuine Miller really tasting that different. Just feeling thicker on the mouth. So in the battle of aromas, I'm going to give a slight edge to Miller Lite. Although it was a belchy flavor coming out of there, it wasn't too offensive. And though I don't mind the smell of my own farts, I would rather not have it coming out of my can of beer. Well, let's move on to taste. Bud Light got to go first in the last round, so let's taste Miller Lite first. Well, light is certainly an apt description. Not a lot of flavor coming out of this. Now, I do find it interesting that they spell light, L-I-T-E, making it proprietary, much like their flavor. There is a shadow of a beer that tickles your tongue and then disappears. They say it's a fine Pilsner beer. If by Pilsner they mean the lightest possible flavor of beer they could manage, then yes, they were successful. In fact, I think its original name is probably more apt, Gablinger's Diet Beer. I'm not making that up. And if you don't believe me and you still have a few Bing searches left today, go ahead and Bing it. Let's take another sip. Certainly won't hurt anything. Well, there's just not a lot going on. So, in that way, the flavor is not offensive. It's just kind of elusive. I mean, to its credit, it is a smooth flavor, much like you would consider water to be smooth. I will say, after a few sips of the Miller Lite, got the urge to light up the grill, maybe go get some fireworks. I don't know how careful I'd be with the fireworks, but throw a few of these back and let's just have a good time. Come what may. I would pair this with cornhole. Throw back 6 of these and you're going to be cornholing with the best of them. Or as some people call it, you'll be bagging with the best of them. Does it make you feel good to police what people call a game? Bagging, cornhole, just let him play, all right? Relax. Take another sip. I do feel like I'm in Milwaukee, just kind of walking around at all the different sights and sounds of Milwaukee, whatever those may be, with people and streets. A lot of people saying, oh, this is way better than Chicago. Chicago's too crowded. We'd much rather be here in Milwaukee. So again, the flavor profile isn't too strong, but I'm getting a lot of notes of the Midwest and where it's from. Let's move on to Bud Light. There's no farts on the flavor, which is a good thing, but that is a very light beer. Really, it should be called Bud Light Light. Bud Light squared. I do have the urge to put on some shoulder pads and a helmet, go tackle somebody. Although, of course, picturing me on the NFL field, I would die. I would be killed. Yeah, I do want to go bowling now. That could be pretty fun. Get to frame 10, perfect game in sight. Turkeys for days. Now, in fairness to these beverages, I'm not consuming them at the optimal consumption level that is probably recommended to get the full profile. You should be throwing back, 8 or 9 of these each. And then you can form an opinion. I'm just doing a little bit of swish. Having said that, though, I can say clearly that these flavor profiles are lacking quite a bit. Speaking of last one standing, it comes down to this. Which one do I think will win? Well, the last round, Bud Light actually won on flavor, but it only won by this much. Miller Lite won on the other 2 categories of smell and girth, making the winner Miller Lite. Bud Light, you can close the factory doors, you can pour every bottle down the drain, you can stop sponsoring football and everything else, and just basically liquidate yourself. But not make any more liquid. I meant the company's assets. I'm gonna go watch me some Wheel of Fortune.